Hello, Internet. This is Whispering Whim, bringing you another grocery haul. In fact, it's the final food haul for 2021. We have somehow all survived this past year, or rather, these past 2 years. And I'm feeling really optimistic. I think, I think 2022 will maybe see a karmic rebalancing, more good things happening and life moving forward. That's just kind of my, I don't know if I would say wish, impression, goal. There are a lot of times where you can choose to be happy, right? So that might be part of it. But anyways, we are here for some groceries, and I think I should go ahead and start in that. First up, in my wonderful little wine bag, I have 2 bottles of wine. 'Tis the season to stock up on lots and lots of alcoholic beverages, right? And I don't know if I told you guys or not, but one of our wedding gifts was a wine cooler. It kind of stands about yay tall, and it holds, I think, 10 bottles of wine. We haven't filled it all the way up, but we got close right after the wedding because we had a bunch of leftover wine from the wedding itself, right? We hosted the bar, so we took all the alcohol home at the end of the night. And it was really nice to just be able to be like, oh, we're going over to so and so's house. Let's grab a bottle. Well, we have long since blown through all of those freebie bottles. They weren't free, but so now I'm on the hunt for good things to stock in there. And this one is basically like your bottom dollar wine. It's really good for the price. It's only like $3.28 if I remember right. So it's good for that price. But it's, obviously bottom shelf wine, I think. Anyways, moving on. We have some split pea and ham soup. I think maybe I'll do it in January. I kind of want to make some split pea soup from scratch because it's way better when you make it from scratch. And I just haven't done it because it takes so much time. You got to rehydrate the peas and cook them until they get mushy. And I don't typically have ham in the house because I don't like ham in most things. Like I like bacon and I like it in split pea soup, but I don't like just like pork chops or a spiral cut ham. I guess I'm not a big pig person. Next up, garbanzo beans. That is so that I can do some homemade hummus, which my guy likes a lot. And speaking of hummus, I needed some more tahini. This is the kind of gives it that very distinctive flavor. Tahini is ground sesame seeds, for those who don't know. And apparently you find it in the peanut butter aisle, which kind of makes sense the more I think about it, but I didn't know that that's where it lived for a very long time. And you can make tahini in a food processor, but the batch size that I would need to make would just be like a giant bag of sesame seeds, and it's kind of an annoying thing waiting for it to grind all the way down. So yeah, just gonna buy the pre-made stuff. And the rest of the hummus is done by scratch, so I think that's probably okay, right? Onto my big old Disney bag here that holds lots and lots of things, as long as they're not super duper heavy things. And bread's not super duper heavy, although this is sourdough, so it does have some weight to it. And I got sourdough so that I can make some steak sandwiches. Some sourdough and provolone, steak, onions, bell pepper, good stuff. Got some regular old white bread. I'm going to be making more and more soups now that the weather is finally starting to get cold-ish. It's actually been an unreasonably warm winter so far. Like, I'm enjoying it, but it's surprising that we haven't had snow or anything, knock on wood, yet. But anyways, I'm looking forward to making some soups. I'm gonna make my meatball soup and chicken noodle soup and maybe split pea. Maybe I'll run out and just buy that stuff separately. We'll see. But moral of the story, I guess, distract myself, is that I'm fine with just eating soup for dinner, but my husband thinks that it's not a meal if you don't have something else with it. So I meet him halfway and I make him a sandwich. Only a grilled cheese sandwich, though. He doesn't like cold sandwiches. He's very picky. I love the man, but he's very picky. Okay. Speaking of things for my guy, got some nice little Christmas tree desserts to put in his lunches. Kind of add some variety to that. I've got some seaweed snacks and let's see here, some Cheeto puffs. I've been kind of going off diet for a bit now. And I get sad that I can't eat chips. Like, I can, but with the braces, the chips are really kind of hard and difficult to eat. And I don't know, I was going down the chip aisle and being like, I need something for me, even though I eat plenty of junk without being able to consume chips. And I got it stuck in my head that I was going to get some Cheetos. I don't think I've had Cheetos in like years. So hopefully it'll be as good as I remember. Because like I said, it's been a long time. Okay. Next up, some tomato, garlic, and basil mix. There's another one hanging out in there somewhere. And then some cough drops, because 'tis the season. And let's see here. Speaking of random urges, I had a desire to have some top ramen. Like, I don't think I've had top ramen since like my poor college days, but it sounded good. So I picked up one lonely little package of that. Some taco shells for tacos that I didn't realize I had actually put in my cart because I had thought about it. And I was like, no, I don't think I want to do tacos this month. And I thought I had put them back, but as I was checking out, they popped back up, and I was like, well, I guess I'll buy them. But now I have to go out and get some jalapenos to go with it. You know, first world problems right there. I got some Triscuits. This is rosemary and jalapeno. And this one has chia seeds in it, chia. Chia seeds and chia pets are made from the same seeds. But anyways, they're very good for fiber and stuff. So, help my guy out a little bit. And now we have some birthday cake. Rice Krispie treats. You know, I'm a sucker. When I start making lunch stuff, I always want to, give him something that's girly or sparkly or just over the top. And I think he enjoys it too, honestly. He certainly doesn't tell me no. And here's a big old bag of onions for all sorts of things. Steak sandwiches included. And then here's that other packet of seasoning. This one's the black garlic parmesan. And we have some Mother's cookies, but instead of the little circus animals, these ones are fantasy creatures. And there's mermaids, unicorns, dragons, and a sea serpent. So I thought that would be kind of fun. And let's see here. Finishing out this bag is potato chips. So these are the ones that my guy will eat. And he likes the kettle cooked ones that are even rougher and tougher for me than the regular ones. So he has his own bag of chips. Oddly enough, that was all of our dry goods. It's been a long time since I've had such a small grocery haul. I will be unbagging our cooler stuff and our freezer stuff just to kind of, make sure we get a little bit of time out of this. With all the Christmas parties and, events this time of year, it's kind of hard to predict exactly what we'll need because, last minute potlucks and, just different kinds of plans that aren't concrete yet. So I did a very small grocery trip. Altogether, it was only about $150. So it was a very small trip for me. But anyways, we have some bell peppers for our steak sandwiches yet again. So many ingredients just for that one dish. And every time, like, I decide to ask my guy, what he maybe hasn't had in a while, he's like, well, it's been a while for steak sandwiches. I mean, it has been a little while, but I laugh because that's his go-to every time. We have some beets here. I like to chop them up and roast them with potatoes and carrots to kind of a roasted root medley, if you will, with a little bit of truffle salt. It's actually very good. It does take a little while to roast it, though. And then we have some cauliflower. This has actually been a big part of my breakfast, or at least my weekend breakfasts. I always make bacon. My guy gets sad when there's no bacon. And I will sit there and with some of the leftover bacon grease, I'll actually fry up probably about a quarter of a head, depending on the size of the cauliflower, worth of, cauliflower. Imagine that. And I'll just fry it in the bacon grease and I'll eat that as like my main part of breakfast. He usually will get like a donut or we've been doing bagels. So yeah, kind of an odd little choice, but it works for me. Next up, we have a good old bag of sugar peas, or snap peas rather. And what I do with those is I'll chop the little ends off because those are just crunchy and they get stuck in your teeth. And I'll blanch them, put them in boiling water for about 5 minutes and then cold water. And then if you do that, you can fry them up with butter and garlic and they'll stay like bright green and happy and they taste amazing. The only problem is I get annoyed chopping all the little ends off. Sometimes I use scissors. That's why I did this. Just take the scissors and snip, snip, snip. Okay. Next up, some good old celery. This will be helpful when I'm making all those soups. And then we've got some of that roast beef. I really like this roast beef. It's oddly delicious for being basically a low-end meat product. And then with the roast beef, there was actually sliced corned beef. I've never had sliced corned beef as like a sandwich meat. Yeah, because I make corned beef. Actually, I've been making it a lot lately. Like once a month, I'll go down and I'll pick up one during one of my off trips, right? And so I've been making lots of corned beef, but I always just eat it. Like I never put it in a sandwich. Even when it's leftovers and it's cold and in the fridge, I just pull it out of the fridge and eat it without even reheating it. So didn't seem like it needed to. So I'm gonna be interested to see how those taste. Like, is it on par with having like real corned beef? I don't know why I'm weirded out by this, but I am. I guess because it just looks like a pinker version of the roast beef, which it is, Corned beef is roast beef in a way. Okay, that's enough of that tangent. Next up, we have some pepper bacon. And that's for our breakfasts, and I'll chop some of that up for stir fry, and we use a lot of bacon in this household. And then next up, we have some Tillamook butter. I have been using store brand butter often lately, and I don't know. I think I kind of miss having quality butter. It does have a better taste typically, So, we'll see. It is like an extra dollar or two per box, and that my money loving or money pinching ways sometimes gets like, do I really need the good stuff? Next up, we have string cheese. I am always surprised at how much string cheese we go through. My guy does not get tired of it. In fact, if I pack him a lunch, like I always try to make there's different desserts and I'll swap out the fruit, but it has to have cheese, and most preferably string cheese in it. He will get sad if there's no cheese in his lunch. Like, genuinely sad. Enough to point it out to me, which he's usually very much like, I'm just grateful that you cook kind of a person. So it cracks me up that he is such a cheese fiend. And speaking of cheese, here's some provolone, our cheese of choice for steak sandwiches. So that's our refrigerator stuff. I'll put this all away and go grab our freezer bag. It's a tiny bag though. On to our last bag here. We have chicken. It was already frozen in the grocery store, so I went ahead and left it frozen since I already have some steak planned for tonight. We've got some pepper stir fry mix, which ironically enough is not what I'm using for the steak sandwiches, although that's more or less all the same ingredients. We have some Texas toast with some cheese on top. Any guesses who that's for? We have some riced veggies, some Asian stir-fry mix, some more riced veggies. This one's a plain cauliflower, whereas the other one kind of more of like a stir-fry mix. It's got the peas and the carrots in it. And then last but not least, we have more freezer bread. Nice, quick, easy carb thing to add to the meals that, I can control. Portion control is very big in this household. And yeah, that's everything already. I didn't have a lot of fun stories or anything this time around. Let's see here. What can I talk about just to stretch everything out a little bit? Oh, you guys mentioned last time that I had very lovely hair, and I do have a confession to make that this is really not my hair. For the wedding, I got some clip-in extensions. They're just little tiny clips to help give me some fullness. I actually have very, very thin hair, and they're kind of fun to throw in once in a while. But I had to confess, because eventually I'm gonna be like in the mood not to look pretty. You've seen plenty of grocery haul videos where I just have the simplest little ponytail and call it good. I'm not actually a very frou-frou kind of a girl. I don't put on makeup very often or curl my hair or do any of that actually, except for like these videos or date night and things like that. But yeah, it's fun though. I get a little weirded out, like it'll like a curl will like fall somewhere, and because my I'm not used to having that much hair, I'll be like, "Ooh, is there a bug on me?" What else? I am actually going to be recording the introduction for our bonus video as soon as I put these freezer things back in the freezer. So that's actually a really good segue. Thank you to everybody who posted questions. If this is the first you're hearing about it, for our 400 subscriber landmark, which we're really close to. We're only 5 people away last time I checked. My channel's kind of, it's the tortoise in the hare race kind of analogy. I don't get big jumps in subscribers, and I'm fine with that. But anyways, we are really close to making that happen. And my plan is I have some ASMR toys that I will unwrap, and as I'm doing that, I will answer your questions, or some of the questions. We've already got quite a few. Some of them are really interesting, and some of them I'm like, how would I answer that? So thank you to everyone who has submitted questions so far. And this video will probably be your last chance to submit more. Because what I'll do is I'll make the little introduction thing, and then I'll just film the video like, pointing down at a set of hands instead of like on my face. And that'll free me up to record it whenever we hit that landmark, or when I have free time, because it can be a bit of an effort to make the kitchen into a filming studio. I don't do a great job of it. Like my plastic bags that I wash and dry hanging in view of the camera, but it was still wet, so I couldn't put it away when I started. So yeah, you've got one more chance to submit questions. I will just pick some of them, the most interesting ones, or maybe not just the most interesting ones, but I don't think I'll have time to do them all, I guess is what I'm really getting at. So anyways, I kind of trailed off there and started to ramble. So that is probably our cue to finish up. As always, thank you guys so much for watching and commenting. And I hope that if we don't see each other again before the new year, that you have a wonderful holiday season, and that 2022 is fabulous for both me and you. I just did that. Good night, everybody.